my lovely, adorable, beautiful, amazing people. Hi, welcome to today's Wonderland session. We didn't do it yesterday. We were supposed to. It was an insane day. It was just not going to happen. So I decided to push it to today, and I'm really glad that you could all join me here. Hi, everyone. Hi, I see everybody joining. Hannah Graham, what's up, everyone? It's lovely to see you. Welcome. And hi, Lisa from New Zealand. Hi, guys. How's it going? I'm really excited because my 2018 Radical Self-Love Almanac went on sale on Monday, and it's really beautiful. It's like these unicorn gradients. It's 120 pages, and it's a real physical book this time. The last 2 years I've done the almanac, it has just been a digital, like a PDF you could download, and then you could, print it out if you wanted to or whatever. And this time it's literally a book you can hold in your hands. So exciting. You can buy it on Amazon. The link is in my profile. And you can also buy a digital copy if you want to save the trees. So it's totally up to you. And it's really exciting to see so many people picking it up. It makes a really good Christmas gift or belated Christmas gift. I am personally going to be giving a copy of it to like everybody that I know, because what is better to give to someone than something that will help them set up the whole year, right? Like that is the dream. I'm wearing my Barbie wig today and some hot pink and some leopard. It's feeling a bit like Kelly Bundy / I don't know, but it feels really good. And so, yeah, woo! Anyway, I'm so glad that you're all here. I love doing these for you, and I love... Why is my father trying to FaceTime me right now? This is just inconvenient. Hang on a second. How do I even cancel this? No. Quit. My father is so persistent. Like, if I don't answer his FaceTime, he'll just call me again. And then he'll call me again. And then he'll call me again. I love him, but this is not the time. Okay. So... let's talk about these Wonderland sessions, because this is the 5th one. So this is the 5th week that we've been doing this. And what I would like to know is whether you've been trying out some of the techniques that I have been suggesting. And if you've been trying them out, I would love to hear how it's feeling. Like, have you noticed a difference? Have you found it difficult? Has it changed the way that you're interacting with other people in your life? What's going on? Talk to me about it. I want to hear, because that's the thing, and this is something that Abraham Hicks says all the time. Words don't teach. You only learn from personal experience. You only learn it from trying it, applying it, putting it into practice in your real life. And, okay, so Barbie Devastation says, sacred mornings are my jam. Yes! I love this. That's perfect. Sacred mornings, totally my thing too. So for those of you who are not aware, a sacred morning practice is about waking up and making feeling good your priority. Meditating, listening to lectures that uplift you, being in an appreciative gratitude space, all of those things. Lisa said, tapping away, Gala, it's been crazy and it's helped anxiety totally. That's awesome. Tapping is such a good way to start your day. It just clears those emotional blockages. Danielle said, incorporated the sacred morning ritual and have noticed a difference. Love it. Kath says, writing down gratitude every night before bed. That's amazing. So, Erica says, sacred mornings make my day so much better. Such a great setup for the day. Fantastic. I love hearing this. Anna says, morning gratitude has shown me what is truly valuable to me. Gabriella said, having feeling good as my priority has been revolutionary. Yes! Ah, this is so good. This is so good. Rhiannon said, so many people have recommended Abraham Hicks to me. I never got it, but this time, oh my God. Yes. So that's fantastic, and I love hearing that, because I can talk about this all day long. I can talk about it until I'm blue in the face, but if you're not inspired to try anything, then what are we doing? What are we doing? The whole goal is that you take the information, you think like, it's kind of interesting, maybe I'll give it a shot, and then you try it and you see what happens. And really, I mean, obviously the goal is for it to feel so good that you keep it up, but you never know it until you try it. So it's really encouraging and so exciting to me to hear that it's working for you, that you're trying it, that you're applying it. Radical self-love revolution! Woo! So in the spirit of total full disclosure, just because you're focusing on feeling good, and you're making that your morning ritual, and you're like in it, and you're like, I'm in the vortex, woo, let's go. That doesn't mean it's always easy. Last week was really hard for me, and I spent most of yesterday in tears because I was just like having a wobble. And we have to be real, like that is real life. You are still gonna feel negative emotions. You are still gonna have things that happen that you're not thrilled about. You're still gonna go through the real life living shit. And you know, that's the reason why I didn't do this live stream yesterday. I was like beside myself, hysterical, like leaving tearful voice memos for my friend in LA. Designs by V said, same, I ugly cried yesterday. Dude, I ugly cried so hard yesterday. My eyes were like this big. It was not cool, and it was painful, and it sucked. But when I woke up this morning, I realized that going through these things that have been hard and experiencing what I don't want is the way that we realize what we do want, right? Like nothing feels good or sweet unless we've experienced the contrast. And additionally, all of this pain that I go through has really helped me see where I need to focus my energy, what works, what's important. And like, I can't teach this stuff unless I'm going through the ugly side as well. And let's be honest, like nobody would trust me if I was like on cloud 9 all the time, because it's not realistic. And I'm human and I'm real and shit goes down and I'm not always happy about it. And that's okay. And in fact, without it, I wouldn't be able to show you these things from a place of really knowing them. Like one of the reasons why I started writing about radical self-love in the first place is because I had an eating disorder and I was chronically depressed and I was cutting myself. Like I was a disaster. I was so unhappy. And that's why my commitment to radical self-love is so absolute, because I've experienced the contrast. And so that's what this is all about. And so I wanted to let you know, like, A, I'm human. And B, if you are committing to feeling good and you have a sacred morning practice and you're doing all of these things and you're still having an ugly cry or you're still having a hard time every now and again, that is totally fine and it's normal and it's okay. And I'm gonna block this guy. Goodbye. Okay. All right. Brittany says, makes the vortex all the more beautiful. Absolutely. So when you've experienced that extreme pain, you can also experience that like full beauty. And when it all comes together, it feels so much better. Erica is saying, yes, that contrast is important. Amy said, it's been an awful year for me and this is resonating so much with me. Dude, this has been the hardest year of my life, and the reason that it's been the hardest year of my life is because I have put myself there energetically every day by focusing on what I didn't want, by worrying, by stressing out about things I couldn't control, and by just relentlessly putting my focus towards what I didn't want all the time. That's what happens. And it's like the end of November, I like popped out the other side of it and I suddenly realized like, holy shit, like I was creating that. And by simply making the decision to feel good and make that my priority, it has completely changed everything for me. And you know, I really hope that for those of you who are also like, Gab is in the middle of so much contrast, she says, if that's where you are too, I want to let you know that you have the ability to remove yourself from that. You have the ability to put yourself in a different place by changing your energy and by changing your vibration and making that the most important thing. One of the things that I really, really love that I heard recently from Abraham Hicks, and it is on my note for this week's session, is there is no issue worth sacrificing the vortex for. So what that means is the vortex feels so good, and it is so important to be there consistently. It's so important to be there as often as we can, that we really can't afford to put any other issue above that. And you may find that that's what you're doing right now. You're prioritizing this worry or this issue or this concern over your feeling good. And so that's why you continue to be in that place, is you're giving so much energy to that issue or that worry, and it's creating all this momentum for you. So if you just make that decision that feeling good is the most important thing and that you will not sacrifice it for any issue, then that will really start to change things. And the other really great thing is when we get into this vortex and we make this our place of like being, it becomes so, like, it changes so quickly. We really make so much progress in such a short time because we're really like, here's the thing. Let me backtrack. Let me rewind. We worry so much that we're not being clear about what we want. But we know what we want. Deep down, it's always there. And every time we experience something that we don't like, it is immediately obvious that we know what we want. Abraham Hicks calls this a rocket of desire. So when you experience something that you don't want, the fact that you are not enjoying it sends a rocket of desire of like, I want the opposite of this every single time. And because we are always in that place of putting out what we want, even when we're suffering and we're having a hard time, we're always putting out what it is that we really want to pull into ourselves. Those things start to come really quickly as soon as we get ourselves into alignment with them. So we don't need to work so hard on asking for what we want. Every day as we walk around and we live our lives and we have interactions, we are shooting out these rockets of desire, pew, 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 all the time. It's not that we're not clear about what we want, because we are crystal fucking clear about what we want. Even if intellectually you think you're confused about it, you're not. You know what you want. And I think that's the way that we really lose our own power, is by being like, I don't know. Yes, you do. And if you really are like, but I really don't know, we're not taking enough time with ourselves to give ourselves time to figure it out. Which means get into your meditation, make it a priority. Because you do know what you want, and when you finally quiet your mind, you will know. It will be so clear to you. So we feel like we need to ask all the time, I need this, I want this is what I want from the universe, I gotta make a list of everything that I want, I gotta visualize it, da 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 da. No, you don't. You ask for it by just like living your life. Take for granted that you are asking all the time. You're asking of the universe what you want 24/7, Dre, Snoop, and Devin. There is no hesitation. You're constantly asking for what you want. The second step is that the universe starts to like arrange it, put it together, pull the people in, make the things happen, organize the synchronicity, da 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 da. The third step is the trickiest part, and it is about getting into alignment with it. So being in a place where you are at the same vibration as that thing that you want. And that's the hardest thing. And that's why the sacred morning practice is everything. Because it puts you into the place of feeling good so that you can become a vibrational match. That's what it's all about. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the vortex, as it is called. The vortex is the place where all of the things that you want to manifest are. They're like swirling around up here. It's like a beautiful cosmic soup. I like to visualize it as like a sparkly pink and purple and blue galaxy, nebula, whatever, and it's just like full of all that stuff that I want, and it's up there. Getting into the vortex is that practice of feeling good so we can really align with the things that we want. And I wanted to talk a little bit about how it feels to be in the vortex, because you might be like hearing this stuff for the past 5 weeks from me and being like, yeah, okay, cool, but like I don't really understand what the fuck the vortex is. Like what are you talking about? Like, do I need to get out my physics textbook? Like, what's a vortex? I don't get it. So being in the vortex is simply that place where you feel really good and your energy is on point. So when I'm in my vortex, and it will probably be a little bit different for everyone, but I'm just going to tell you what it feels like for me so that you understand. Pop Heart Studios said it feels like pure love, like you're on drugs. Yes, it does. It feels like MDMA with no come down. It feels like walking outside and really seeing the colors of the sky. It feels like looking at someone that you love and really seeing their true essence, not seeing their day-to-day behavior, but seeing the truth of who they are in all its beauty. For me, it feels like I just want to send text messages and emails to people that I love and just tell them how much I appreciate them. It makes me be like spontaneously kind and generous to people. It makes me dress differently. So when I get dressed from within the vortex, I end up in like this shit. And when I don't get dressed from within the vortex, I end up in like leggings and like a big sweater that my boyfriend gave me 2 years ago that I stole. Which is cute, but it is not getting dressed from inside the vortex. When I get dressed from inside the vortex, baby, it is like wigs, hats, faux fur coats, sparkly over the knee boots. Like, it is a fucking show. And it's beautiful. Alexandra said, what do you do when you feel that you really can't get out of the dark place? The first thing is to recognize that that is simply a belief that you have, and a belief is something that you're just telling yourself all the time. The idea that you can't get out of the dark place is a story that you are telling yourself, and it only has as much power as you are giving it. When I am in a really dark place, there are a few things that I do. The first is that I just allow myself to be there. Because as much as it's great to be in the vortex, and we all want to be there all the time, and we all want to feel like we're on drugs without being on drugs. We all want that feeling of like enlightenment and transcendence and beauty, right? But you can't get to that from the dark place. There's no fucking way. It's too many rungs up the ladder. In fact, it's like 3 ladders over. It's like at the top, and then the top of the next one, and then the top of the next one. So what you want to do when you're in that really dark place is just move your energy to like the next rung on the ladder, which is maybe the rung of like, maybe I won't be in this dark place forever. It's just about shifting the needle. So whatever you need to do to change that, whether it's listening to some music that you love, or getting a hug from somebody, or writing in your journal, or whatever, you just need to move to the next rung on the emotional ladder. And then you can progress up from there. And this idea that we're going to jump from feeling like complete shit to complete ecstasy, like, that's very unrealistic. It can be done, absolutely, but if you're not super practiced in this, then you're kind of setting yourself up to fail, and then it doesn't help you do it the next time, right? So it's important that we just allow ourselves to be in that place. If you're not feeling good, I wasn't feeling good yesterday. I just cried all morning. And I made like weepy voice memos to my mermaid friend who lives in Los Angeles. And, you know, then I got dressed up. It wasn't the cutest outfit ever, but I tried my best. And I was like texting with a friend who always makes me laugh, and she was talking to me about buying butt pads, and she was sending photos of her wearing these butt pads, and I was laughing. I saw my friend and we had a good time, and then my boyfriend came home and I said I'd been crying all morning, and then we talked about it. And I was able to move through the stages, but I needed to allow myself that time to just feel what I was feeling. Because on the other side of that feeling, there's always this expansion. There's always some growth. There's always something juicy and fucking delicious there, but we can't access it unless we're allowing ourselves to be in that place. So if you're feeling shitty, don't beat yourself up for it. It's okay, and it's part of the growth continuum, is to feel shitty. You never go from being like, great, to even greater, to holy shit, amazing. And if you think of all the people that you've ever admired and their story of transition or struggle or trying something new or getting to this like amazing peak, they have to go through those ugly times. Absolutely everybody has to go through those ugly times. So don't beat yourself up for it. You will move through it. It will pass. You will be okay. But creating this morning practice is really, really important. Julia said, I go out and stare at my horses when I get really dark. They remind me that life goes on. Sometimes I just start making what I'm going through into a comedy. Then I feel lighter. That's awesome. And in fact, one of my friends that I was with yesterday, Veronica, I said to her, I'm asking everyone that I love and respect, what do they do when they don't feel good to get into the vortex? What do you do? And Veronica said, I put on my headphones, I put on my workout playlist. Even though I'm not going to work out, I put it on because it like pumps me up. It's got some good jams on there. She was like, I leave the house, and as I am walking down the street, I imagine the credits rolling on a movie. And I think, what do I want this movie to be? What do I want to channel? Who do I want to be in my life's movie? And then she like goes to a coffee shop and she talks to some people and she just gets out of her house. And for any of you who are also self-employed, or maybe you're a stay-at-home mother or whatever, you're in the house all day, it is so vital to get out of your home and out of your space. That's really important, that you can leave your environment, because when you get in that place and you're just stuck, you will feel, it's really hard to move through it. So when I feel bad, I like to like grab my dog and we go for a walk. We just get the fuck out of Dodge. And just moving your body changes up your energy, and that helps to change up your mindset. It's much easier to change how you feel in your brain when you're using your body. We can't just think our way into a new place. I really believe that there's such an essential part of it is using our body to change everything. Because our physiology informs our psychology. So it's like if you're sitting around like this and you're slumped over like a broken doll, you're gonna start to feel shitty. But if you sit up and you put your shoulders back and you put your tatas out, it changes your brain chemistry. It really, really helps. Okay, so getting into the vortex, somebody said on Facebook, you know, can you go through the sacred morning practice? I've talked about it like every week for the past 5 weeks, so I don't want to say it again, but there is a post on my blog. It's called Sacred Morning Practice. Google it. It's there, and it explains the whole thing, so please check that out. It's a really quick read, and it'll totally help you figure all of this out, and you will love it. So, sacred morning practice, how do we get into feeling good? We get there by making feeling good a priority. We get there by envisioning the credits rolling. We get there by, like my friend Colin said to me last week, he watches the Victoria's Secret fashion show and he like imagines that he's Carly Kloss and he's like, fuck yeah, bring it on. My boyfriend gets into the vortex by sparring, doing martial arts, hitting pads. That's what gets him there. So, and another really great thing with getting into the vortex is you can just say to yourself, I want to be in the vortex, and your energy will start to change. Things will start to come together, which is really beautiful. So here's what happens when we are not aware that we are in control of how we're feeling all the time. So the most important thing that we can learn is that we control our energy. We control how we feel. Even if your boyfriend is a fucking dick to you and your mother is rude and the postman like stole your package and like your sister is like sleeping with your ex-husband, whatever, right? The only thing that we can control is how we feel. And the problem is when we neglect that, decline it, pretend that that's not the truth, we start to look for that feeling goodness elsewhere. And so we binge shop, we go get a pedicure every 3 days, we eat heaps of food that doesn't feel good, we binge watch Netflix, we go looking for love in all the wrong places, essentially. And that's really the danger of not recognizing that we're not in control of how we feel. We need to recognize that the best thing that we can do is really own that and take ownership of it and be fully aware of the fact that this is up to us and it's within our control. So I'm just looking at my notes here. This thing came up in one of the Abraham Hicks YouTube recordings that I was listening to, and I really loved it. And somebody was like, I have this problem. What do I do about this problem? How do I solve this problem? I'm always thinking about this problem. What do I do? And Abraham Hicks said, you can deactivate your problem right now. And the guy was like, amazing. How do I deactivate my problem? Like, please tell me. I really want to know. How do I deactivate my problem? And they said, never talk about it again. And he was like, oh, okay. And they said, when you go into a problem, you leave your source, you leave your own sense of wisdom, and most crucially, you leave your alignment. And that's why it feels bad to think about it. So, when there's an issue that you feel shitty about, what's really happening there is your inner being, your inner self, feels differently about it. If you're thinking like, my husband's not a good guy, I don't think I should be with him, and it's giving you a sense of conflict and pain and it feels bad, that's because your inner being feels the opposite way that you do. Isn't that interesting? So every time you feel bad about something, you feel stressed about something, you feel worried about something, the reason that doesn't feel good is because it's not actually the truth of what's going on at your deep inner being level. And I think that's fascinating. And it's something I'm still getting my head around because it's a very big concept for me. And sometimes I'm like, okay, how does this line up in my real life? How do I apply this? What do I do there? But I wanted to just drop that one on you and see how you feel about it, see how it lands. It might be something that you think about over the next week, and maybe then you'll be like, oh my God, holy shit, while you're in a meditation or you're going for a run or something. But I just wanted to put that out there because I found that really poignant and interesting, and I loved it. So I'm going to say what I said earlier again, which is there is no issue worth sacrificing the vortex for. When we think about these problems that we have, like, they make us feel crazy. And we kind of like, those unpleasant thoughts that we have are almost like an addiction. We get obsessed with thinking about our problems. We just think about them all the time. And the more that we think about them, the more energy we give them, the bigger they become, the more it drags our focus from everything else, and the more it sucks the lifeblood and the energy and the goodness and the juiciness out of everything else that is good in our lives. So when during this clip, and she was like, you know, just never talk about your problems again, he was kind of like, I don't know how to do it. How do I never talk about this problem again? Like, okay, this is a really big problem. And she said, think about it like going to a family dinner where there are subjects that you don't want to talk about. You know how to steer the conversation, how to slalom around it so that you don't ever have to bring this up. And you can do that with your thoughts too. Because you know, if you're having a shitty thought, you can pause and you can be like, how did I get here? And you can retrace your steps, walk. You can walk back and you can figure out where the seed of that thought was, what the genesis of that thought was. And so when you start to become aware of those things, you can then start to be like, you know, I'm not going to give that thought any momentum because I know where it's going to take me. And it's not going to take me anywhere good. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting paradox there where it's like, it's fine to feel your feelings. It's okay to cry. It's okay to like feel where you are and be frustrated with where you are and whatever. But there's a difference between a temporary pain where one morning you're upset about things and maybe you're upset about everything, and that's okay. There's a difference between that and crying and the next day being like, you know what, it's all gonna be okay. And getting back on that train of feeling good and being in the vortex. And there's a difference between that and waking up every day and continually thinking about the things that are stressing you out, continually giving attention to it, continually talking to your therapist about it, continually texting your best friend about it, continually Googling it, continually watching videos about it, continually reading New York Times articles on the subject, whatever it is. There is a difference between feeling the pain and moving through it and even using the pain as fuel, as momentum to get to where you want to go. It's like I was saying earlier about moving up the rungs of the emotional ladder, right? You can use that pain to propel you forward into that next place that feels better versus being in the problem, feeling the problem all the time, blah, 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 just perpetuating the problem, talking about it, whatever. The best thing to do with a problem is focus on something else that feels amazing and put your energy there and letting the goodness of that situation kind of like filter down into the rest of your experience. And of course, to take some inspired action. So inspired action is different than pushing a fucking rock up a hill and trying and making the effort and sweating and cussing and holy shit, this is so hard, versus inspired action where maybe you're in a meditation and you have an idea and you think, oh, I will call that person. Being in a meditation and having an idea that like feels really good and then you act on that. That is totally different than sweating and worrying and laboring and being freaked out about a problem. Right. So the other thing that I wrote down that I really love, and this is going to be my last point for this session because we're at like 40 minutes, which is crazy. So we're gonna just jump into this last point. This is what it says. This is my handwriting. This is what this says. Don't let your observations lead your emotions. You are a slave to what you notice and you have no control. Get ahead. And then it says in all caps, don't observe, create. So what this means is that this is more also about, you know, not having your happiness be conditional by being like, oh, so-and-so did this, so I feel good today. Or this happened, so I'm happy, right? That's conditional happiness. What we really need to be doing is to wake up in the morning and even before you like look at your phone, even before you open the curtains and look at the weather, you put yourself in that good feeling place. You create your life, you create your universe. I call it the Galaverse because hey, but you create your universe every morning. And then you can be in the world, you can observe things, you can whatever. Rather than waking up, looking around, surveying your kingdom, appraising it, and then deciding how good you're gonna feel. Why? You don't have to do it that way. You are the master creator of your life. You get to make it anything you want, anything that feels good. So why not make that your priority? Wake up in the morning and create rather than observing. And I love that. I love that. I saw someone asking about some childhood beliefs and someone recommending EFT/tapping. That is totally what my recommendation would be as well. Definitely tapping on your old pain, your trauma, your fears, your beliefs. Works a treat. It's really, really amazing. PTSD as well. If you Google PTSD, EFT, then you will be amazing. Amazing. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. I hope that this was useful. I hope that it has inspired you to recommit to feeling good, being in the moment, like enjoying life, soaking up the joy of life, because it is everywhere all the time. And I have to run, but I love you all very much. Thank you for being here. The almanac is on sale. The link is in my Instagram bio. It's beautiful. You should pick it up. And next week is our final Wonderland session. I'm really excited for it. Let me know if there's anything that you would like me to address specifically in that. You can always send me a DM on Instagram or leave a note on my Facebook wall or email me, love@galadarling.com. I'm very available. Let me know if you have any suggestions for the last one or anything you'd like to hear about. But you guys are great. No problem about the tough questions. Love tough questions. It's all good, baby, baby. All right. Have a beautiful rest of your week, you guys. And I will see you the day after Christmas. Have a great Christmas.